38.
Is it 38?
I think so.
Okay.
Still here.
It's still
Still doing it.
still here. I think sooner or later, if we continue to do this, if we continue to still be here, we're gonna have a merch shirt
Merch.
that will say "Still here."
Still here.
Right.
Right.
That's kind of a
It's our
multi-level
catchphrase. Still here.
multi-level interpretation of our existence.
Right. Still here in so many ways.
Yeah. Like, lately, I think you and I have talked about this, but I will mention on the podcast. It's like everything seems closer.
Oh, it is hot.
Yeah, sorry, I overheated it a bit. Everything seems closer. Like the past lives are closer. Like past memory. If there's such thing as past memory is closer. Like knowing things is closer.
Yeah.
Like
The
just
future's closer.
the future is closer. Even the things that are, let's say, on the books are far away are still closer.
Yeah.
And so it's the concept of time is just like becomes very apparently irrelevant. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, is that how you feel?
Yes. Yes, that's a good way to word it.
Yeah. And so as we do these, like I woke up this morning and while I was in the shower, I was thinking, like I was just in the present, like doing whatever it is I was doing in the shower. And then like I I grabbed for the towel and I grabbed for the door and I'm like, oh wait, like I do things. Like it dawned on me that, oh, I do things in this world.
Like subconsciously or period?
No, I just consciously, I was kind of like in that subconscious days of like just.
Easy to be in that subconscious days in the shower too.
Yeah, but I
First
don't
thing in the
take my
morning.
showers like you do. Like I actually have a commitment and the goal to get out.
I'm kind of like, nah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm kind of in the.
You
I'm
have
not
more
aware.
you have more of a time crunch than I do in the morning.
Yeah, I have to be out. But I wasn't even aware of that. Like I was just doing it and then I was done doing it. And then as I was stepping out of the shower, I'm like, wait, I do things. Like we do things at specific times and we don't do things at certain times.
Right.
And then
What's interesting, it's kind of pointless, but at a very, very fundamental level, everything we do is moving stuff. That's all we do is move stuff. We move our hands to move the germs off of our body. We move the water. We move, we're moving the cacao from the cup into our belly. When we type, we're just moving our fingers to move buttons. Everything boils down to moving stuff, shifting shit. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Our whole purpose is to move stuff. Maybe that's moving people. I don't know. There's all kinds of things to move, but what else is there other than moving? I guess internally.
Like if you're having an experience and you're.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess you can be having an experience, but you move yourself into an experience. There's that.
I guess, but is that doing? When I say doing, I guess I mean externally, and I think everything externally is moved. I don't know. It just seems weird.
No,
that's what we do. Is we're these humans that move stuff. I guess that's true of all the creatures. I look over there to see if I can cat.
Well, no. I mean, the cats don't move things. They don't have opposable thumbs.
Well, of course they do. They move themselves. They move themselves.
They move themselves, and they move things with their mouth.
They move toys, and they move the food into their bellies.
When you're meditating, what's happening there?
I guess you're not moving.
Is your mind moving though?
Hopefully not. If you're meditating, right? Not too much. I don't know. I would say no, but at the same time, that's like there's a big asterisk on the no.
You want to come? So you just moved. Yeah, now you're going to lay in your poof.
I don't know.
I mean, we can just talk about that. Doing and not doing, moving and not moving, time and no time. Is a weird topic?
We can see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So as far as meditation goes, you do that whole like, oh, pay attention to me or roll over cutely. As far as meditation goes, I feel my energy moving,
Yeah.
right? Like my mind becomes more apparent o- of it being an energy system as opposed to physical mind. Now, with me lately, my meditations have been even if I am in um if my mind is more running, right?
Hmm.
Like if I'm having more thoughts than usual. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. I'll probably start. Still really hot though, so there's no way it deposited itself. Oh, you want your spoon back? Why did you purposely switch spoons?
Did I put him there?
Well, you're the ones who said I have the
Oh,
spoons.
oh yeah, maybe I did. I didn't. That
I
wasn't on
see.
purpose.
I see.
Gotta move the spoons.
You couldn't even trade me spoons for one day.
I'll trade you if you want. I
Mm,
just like the spoon.
I see.
I don't know if that spoon's gonna make it to the bottom of that cup either.
You're rather about the same height, almost. Are we? Yeah, they're almost the same height. I mean, look how much I have over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really hot though. Like it's even hot to set it on
It's
myself.
hot. Yeah, I had to set it down for a
Yeah.
while.
No, so my meditations have been like almost um, like dual purposed, right? In a sense, or maybe I'm just failing at meditating properly. There's that.
Doing it wrong.
Yeah, to where it is I can be aware of things and have my mind be monkey running, let's say. It runs less so than it ever has before, but still, I have thoughts and whatnot. And I can be aware of them or not aware of them, but it could run, right? But then on the back line, there's this whole other channel where I'm actually energetically connected. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Does that ever happen to you or not? And so it so so you could be like almost aware of like what you're thinking, but your calming of the mind connection actually amplifies. And then sooner or later, when you become aware of the duality, like one almost takes over and you can very easily shut this one off. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I don't know that that's my experience though.
To begin with, right, when I first started meditating, because you were meditating way before me, there was this almost thought process of like, oh, do I get my mind to calm, right? And then you had all these tools like, oh, just like
Count
it-
your breaths.
count your breath or don't think about thinking, right? While you're not thinking about thinking, you're thinking about thinking, right? So it's almost like this forced to begin with is forced.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is almost
Artificial.
yeah, forced. I guess maybe forced is the best word. And then later you realize, oh, wait, I am being forced. I'm forcing myself into the state in order to achieve something, right? So there's this like chase into accomplishment, maybe. Um, but then later you realize, even if you sit in that forced state for long enough, I say to begin with, is not very quickly. To begin with, after a while, you do drop that state. The
Right.
forcedness goes away, and you go into this like,
Yeah, I think there's probably an actual brainwave state change that goes along with that too.
well, yeah,
It's you know, you sit down and you're in beta or maybe alpha, and the I physiologically I think the goal is to drop it down into was it theta or delta, whatever the one is below.
theta, and then delta is the lowest.
All right, so theta, get it to theta, because I don't know delta. Maybe you're asleep. Maybe you can get it to delta. I don't know,
Yeah.
but because I can feel the difference between alpha and theta.
Yeah.
I'll get these
Do
right
you
on it.
do you ever just say, "I'm now dropping into theta state," and it happens? Do you actually do it on command like that or not?
No, but it doesn't take too long
Oh,
if
so you
I'm
allow it to happen naturally?
yeah, yeah. I mean, lately I've been trying to I mean, I guess I do like 4 or 5 different types of meditations depending on the day. It's just whatever one feels right on the day, but sometimes it's just you know, clear the mind and, things will come up and it's like, okay, and you acknowledge and you let it go type of thing. And that's the one that gets me into theta the quickest. Just just doing that. And I know it's weird. It's like this peaceful calm.
Mhm.
And then, things will come and things will go. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, maybe this isn't really meditating, but sometimes there's like a light show going on. And it's not even in my eyes. It's totally in my mind because it's incredibly detailed. It's like a movie. Um, Sometimes it's, I'll repeat a mantra over and over, like the TM style. And sometimes it's more of the, like what Cozy did last time, like the Catholic interpretation of meditation, where you focus on something, to contemplate something.
Yeah, do you wanna talk about that one while we're at it? Looks like we're talking about meditations on this
Sure.
podcast. Yeah, so there's our friend, runs meditations at the local Buddhist center, and one of the meditations that he cycles through, I think there's 4, it's called Lectio Divina,
But yeah, Lectio Divina.
and is it Catholic? Is it the origin of it?
I think so. And he will read off a passage, usually of some holy text, like could be Christian text, Islamic text, Jewish text, Buddhist text, Native American, whatever. Um, a paragraph, a couple sentences, and then he'll read it once, and he's like, just don't focus on it, just hear it. And the second time, see if anything. Read it again. Second time, see if anything jumps out at you as something that feels you know that resonates with you. And then for 5 minutes, we'll meditate on that. And in the Catholic sense of meditation, where you focus on it and really contemplate it, and
Yeah, I think he
think about
said
what it means.
the monks at the monasteries used to use this, right?
Yeah,
So they would, they would contemplate scripture in this form.
yeah, yeah. In order to get a better understanding of I guess God's intention behind the scriptures.
Mhm.
Um, and then the way that our friend does it is then we'll you know talk about the things that came up, the things that seemed important.
That jumped out at us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're always fascinating,
Yeah, no, it's always
especially if you get a little group of people,
yeah.
because everyone's like a different thing jumped out to everybody, and even if it is the same thing, everybody has a different take on it. It's always really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and he points out that usually what will jump out at you is what's kind of like you're resonating with at the moment, right? So if the passage is, let's say 4 or 5 sentences, you will pick a word or like a phrase that resonates with you of what you're trying to work on or you're trying to process. Um, yeah, I have meditations that I do that even when we don't go there. Just kind of like, especially if I'm struggling with something,
Yeah,
and I'm trying to process it,
yeah,
and then like seeking higher guidance.
yeah.
Then yeah, I would, and you know, in his case, he's almost like, um, maybe I don't remember if he says it or not, but I've heard other people say you can almost chant the like inside of your head, chant uh, w- what you're thinking of, or like summarize it in one word in order to get into the flow, into the theta state, let's say, in relevance to that word.
That makes sense.
You
I
know
mean,
what I
that's
mean?
that's kind of like a TM type of thing to do anyway.
Yeah. And so that way, when you're tuning in, the chant or the word or the one word summary that you want to bring up, let's say you're struggling with identifying like some trauma within yourself, right? Then you can Oh, there you go. I will just give example on mine. Like if I struggle with safety, right? I could almost I could almost pick a word safety, right? And without contemplation or meaning or assigning good or bad or anything, assigning any value to it, I can almost go into a meditative state by kind of resonating or chanting in my head word safety and safety and safety, right? And so then when I go into theta, what happens is that is that is what the topic is. That is what the resonance of my subdued state. And then I can, once I kind of like let go of that chant and let it echo naturally, it disappears into contemplation, yes.
Yeah. I guess I don't do it like that, but I will focus if I have an issue that I'm dealing with. I'll saying think about it isn't really the right way to word it because it's different from just sitting down and thinking about it.
You almost feel about it.
Yeah, you feel about it, and sometimes, I will seek higher guidance about it,
Mhm.
and sometimes it ends up being like a little dialogue there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just yeah. Instead of think about it, feel about it. That is a good way to word it. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's all kinds of amazing revelations can come out of that.
I think what in in the long run, the only thing that meditation does, if done properly, I guess, but even if it's not done properly, I mean, even if you're just closing your eyes for 30 seconds just to calm yourself, like, in the moment of, distress or rage or whatever,
Mhm.
it it allows you to go into the synapses of your feeling, right? And usually the synapses of your feeling is actually tied in into your higher self. So, like, even though you might feel the distress in the moment of now, at the core, that say that idea of distress is corded in into the higher guidance, which is your higher self. And so you can almost it is almost like an implosion from your higher self up and then up into whatever the issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then what you're feeling is you're feeling your own wisdom kind of,
Yeah.
but your own wisdom is mixed in um with the oneness that is like the unity consciousness. And so like your wisdom seems really, really smart. So most of the
Yeah.
time you don't think it's you,
There is
because
profound
right,
wisdom in there.
because in this fractal state of form, you currently don't have an answer to whatever question you're asking, whatever demise you're facing. But in your higher state of being, which is the connection to the unity consciousness, everything is known. And so therefore you feel like, whoa. Whenever I channel, right? I'm like, whoa.
Keanu Reeves style.
Keanu Reeves, I guess Keanu Reeves style. When I said it, I didn't realize it, but yeah, that's what he does, isn't it? No, but it's that feeling of like profoundness, right? And in fact, this the guidance is never actually all that profound if you think about it. It's usually the simplest answers. It's not rocket science.
Right. And usually it's like it usually it's you I come out of those sessions with this like, "Oh, it doesn't matter at all," type of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, "Oh, this whatever it is that seems so important, why did it seem so important again? That doesn't even make sense right now."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, whenever we are living active in our pain body, w- the activation of it just seems all consuming. It is impossible to
Yeah.
like see the sun, or even think that there is a sunlight above the clouds. Like the gloom and doom that it carries with it is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so it's like this is the most important thing whenever you're in it. And it, and for somebody to almost say to you like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Like, is it actually?" and then you would go into the rage
Of course it is.
and the response,
Yeah.
because to you it is.
Of course,
How dare would anybody
of
even
course, the
question?
election is the most important thing in the world. Oh my gosh.
It's the most useless thing in the world. Right. And so, like, whenever we are in that space of pain and fear, it's almost impossible for us to see the
Right.
silver lining, or not even the silver lining. Silver lining always makes it sound like, oh, there's some good in the bad. No, like all light,
Yeah.
just light.
Right. No, in meditations, you would, if it is, like the election, you would, if I were to have a strong feelings about the election, and that seems like the most important thing, and I were to meditate on it, I think eventually it would occur to me that that the reason I have strong feelings about it is because I feel out of control or unsafe, and possibly that if the election goes this way or that way, it's going to be bad for me or good for me or whatever, and so it would boil down to some sort of control or safety
Mhm.
issue, and
Yeah.
then once you would realize that, it makes it possible to release that energy that's
Mhm.
stuck in there.
Yeah.
And depending on the person, it may be, well, dot dot dot, back when I was a kid, I don't even know what, but something that would connect to it. Something that would connect not to the election, but to feeling safe or feeling in control or having a say or having a voice or something like that.
Yeah. A couple of days ago, we have I guess we haven't brought up our children, but we have a teenage son. And like he brought up whatever this thing between the two rappers, the
Yeah.
penis one and the non-penis one,
Drake and is it
whatever.
Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah. And we were like, wait, what? What's happening in the world?
right?
And so he like tried to summarize it for us. That there's like,
I still don't understand.
I still don't understand, but there's something called beef, right? Is that what they're
They've got
referred to?
beef.
They have beef between the two of them. I don't even know if
Yeah.
that's the term that people would use these days, but that's the summary that I got. And I thought, I mean, one, obviously it's just a marketing ploy,
I think it's all just a marketing ploy. I think
right?
it's like, oh, how do we get people to talk about us? We'll have some sort of elaborate
Standoff,
standoff,
musical
musical
standoff, a
standoff,
dance off.
a dance off, dance battle.
No, but that's what it is, right? What was it? At the same time, we were also talking about the movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. What would
Yeah.
they like had a dance battle? Like the way they solved resolutions is with the dance battle. I mean, that's what this
Right.
Drake and Lamar characters. Lamar,
Kendrick Lamar.
Lamar, yeah, right. That's what they're having between each other, right? Is they're having a sing battle,
Right. And I don't know the first thing about either of these people.
No, I don't know either, other than there was a penis involvement at some point earlier, which was also a publicity stunt.
Right. I accidentally recorded myself whipping it around and accidentally leaked it. Whoops.
No, and so to me, to see it for it, like, right, this is the most useless thing I could possibly think of right now.
Yeah.
That
But like a whole bunch of people all riled up about it. Are you on Team Drake or are you on Team Kendrick?
Is that the case?
I think so.
And so, if that is the case, and they're actually believing in this being anything other than a publicity stunt in order to get both of them more viewers and more subscribers on YouTube and Instagram, or TikTok, whatever their platform that they're at, I don't see a point of it at all. But the question is, if you are diving into this, let's say, what you believe is real
A soap opera.
right? What is the energy? What kind of energy of chaos that you have internally within you that causes you to be pulled in and find it relevant? Like, find it
Right.
relevant for yourself to even spend time talking about it.
Right. I mean, if that's the type of thing that you enjoy, and I say that with a big asterisk, enjoy in like a wholesome way. Like this is because you got to be careful. There's like, oh, I enjoy it because I get all riled up about it, and then there's, oh, I enjoy it because it's entertaining. We got to be careful.
What is entertaining
But
about it?
if you can stand back and go, oh, look at this, look at this play happening on this stage of life. And the two characters are Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and they're doing their thing. And isn't this entertaining? Give me my popcorn. That's one thing, I guess. It's hard for me to do that because that's just not my thing.
I guess the only
But-
form of entertainment that I would see in this is it would be very interesting in seeing the statistics between their subscriber count and average view count per week and per month.
I go straight to the marketing aspect of
Yeah,
it too.
well, because we're in marketing, right?
Yeah.
And then seeing what this did to them as a bump, because obviously it's a bump.
Yeah.
It's obviously a publicity, stunt, and it's working. And so what I would be curious about is the statistics from the marketing standpoint. But, our 17-year-old, and I'm sure most of his school, whoever is into that type of music, or even who's not into that type of music, is riled up about the idea.
I had at least heard about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On what publication?
Probably Apple News.
Oh,
Just because I get the weirdest things.
Okay.
But I just heard about it, and then it was in my because I'm like, wait, because Aiden mentioned Drake or something. Wait, does Drake and somebody else have some sort of fight going on? Yeah, everybody knows about this. What?
Right, but the internal chaos. Right. So here's the pitfall that we usually fall into, is if we have any internal chaos left within us that we're not addressing and not processing, right? But it resonates with us. It's almost like, let's say it's a song. It quite literally is a song, and it has a specific beat and has a specific frequency, and it just oomps, 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 or whatever. I know Drake probably doesn't oomps, but whatever equivalent of that is, right? And what?
Put the cat.
Oh yeah, sure. And so right, it resonates. It's resonating within you, and so Drake's and Lamar's frequency resonates in you in the sense of a frequency of chaos, right? Now, in their case, it's pretend frequency of chaos, right? It's a show.
I certainly think so.
But still, it's resonating within you, and so you can go about it two ways. You can recognize the fact that, wait, there's something in me that wants to pull me into this pretend, or let's say even if you believe it's a real conflict, and I have an opinion, and
you have a charge,
and I'm, I don't know, yelling about it, talking about it, tweeting about it, whatever the equivalence of your charge is, right? You can recognize that, look, why am I getting pulled in? Somehow their, let's say, conflict is resonating within me. And then you can be aware and go, what is it within this conflict that resonates within me? And what is it that I need to address on my end to where that charge is my thing right now? Even though it has nothing to do with you, right? Because in the long run, if anybody's feeling anything at all in regards to Drake or Lamar, it is in no way relevant to them, right? Like it could, right?
It's soap opera.
Yeah, but you're tuning into an artificial soap opera, artificial chaos, because you have a resonance of it within you, right? And I guess the other way to go about it is to be completely blind to the fact that you have this resonance, and it's whatever's pulsating in them that they're projecting is being pulsated into you in this, bringing up this charge or this trauma or this fear or whatever it is addressing. And then you're totally in it. You're like, and what that is denial of the personal unaddressing of trauma, let's say, and you're externalizing it into elsewhere, right? So instead of actually going, wait, what is it within me that feels the same as what this is? You go, la, 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 to your own stuff. And you go, oh, well, he did this and he did that and he did that. And whatever you're saying about he or she did this or did that, you are projecting yourself as a character onto Lamar or onto Drake. And then you feel injustice, let's say.
Yeah. Oh, he did.
He said this about my mama or about
them,
my truck or whatever, right? You know what I mean? So you're projecting whatever triggered within you, and you see yourself in that time as a character, as Lamar or as Drake.
Right.
Right. And so
at least some aspect of that, yeah.
Yeah, you will pick the aspect that resonates with you. In fact, what you will be saying is the fact, this is going back to Lexia Divino, what you will be saying is what resonates with you, what hits that stuck energy, and then you will be seeking you will be fighting for or against that concept.
Yeah.
Right. But, again, going back to meditation, that is what meditation is contemplation of what is it from the Lexia Divina part is what is it that is hitting you.
Yeah.
And acknowledgement thereof, right? One of the types of meditation is acknowledgement of what is it that I feel.
Right.
And then how do I acknowledge that this is my truth? Like, no, I actually feel this. Admitting to yourself that you actually feel this, as opposed to externalizing onto Drake, right? Or into some other soap opera in the world. Either it's election, either it's football, baseball, I don't know, whatever it is that people grab onto these days. Or, Survivor, if that's still on TV. Or what is that? There's some sort of dating show where they put people in.
Is it Love Island?
Oh, yeah,
Is
the
that a
Love
thing?
Island, whatever. That I remember that was on Netflix at some point. Right. And so whatever that drama that you feel pulled into, it is because your higher self is guiding you
Yeah.
into recognition of the stuck energy you have within.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess where I was going is it is theoretically possible to watch this drama or any of these dramas without a charge, and I guess
As a form of entertainment.
I guess as entertainment or enjoy it, or with me it's a curiosity about what's the business idea behind this. That's
the
my
curiosity is statistics. That's just you.
Yeah,
That's just you snapshotting Drake's subscriber count 2 weeks ago or before the
well,
penis.
I mean, not just that, but the whole thing about it. Was it like planned? Was it like one person, one of them started it by I don't know, insulting the other, and then the other one was like, wait a minute, I know what's going on, and then that's what I'm curious about.
Oh,
but I don't have but I don't feel like I have a charge about it. I have no vested interest one way or the other way. I'm just curious about the nuts and bolts of how this works, to what end. Is it working? How are they measuring it? Who all's involved? Do they have teams involved?
That's not an article that will be published.
Yeah, but maybe I would read it if it was, because I find it fascinating.
Too. Yeah.
But the charge of, oh my gosh, I feel that it's injustice about, this guy said something about that guy, or oh my gosh, he brought his wife into it, brought his kids into it. That the charge. You're right. The charge hits you. You feel that charge because there's an aspect of it that resonates with one of your traumas, one of your experiences. And if it's, oh my gosh, he brought his kids into it, into the beef.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it was all fun and games until that, and now that really hits you, and it's like, well.
Right, it's so individualized, right? You have to see your own
now
truth
it's like, oh, well, either it's when I was a kid, something happened, or it's something that's happening to my kids, or something very, or doesn't even have to be kids, or something happened to my pet, or something happened in some way that connects to you.
Yeah.
And it isn't necessarily a literal kids to kids. Could be, but not necessarily.
Yeah,
There's
it will be sneaky.
Some sneaky thing.
Yeah.
That is invisible. And it's easy to justify, well, of course, obviously it's wrong to bring the kids into it. This is beef between two adults. So why are you bringing family? Sure. But all that is a disguise over the real issue.
Well, just like
if there's a charge.
The fight is a disguise.
Huh?
The fight is a disguise.
Yeah.
But then your reaction to it is a disguise as well.
Right. But the charge is the signal to oneself that there is something there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you feel that charge, there's something there.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just take that charge and ignore it or gloss over it. And I'm really good at that. I know that. But that's the sign. That's the big flag saying, hey, there's something here.
Yeah. No, we and I will repeat this, and I always say this every time, but we specialize in hiding things from ourselves. Right. But at the same time, because we're connected to our higher purpose in life, we get these kicks of charges being activated.
One thing that I've done before is if there's something, charged, right? Something that you feel strongly about, you
Mhm.
know, go into meditation and just get yourself all riled up about it. Just like, oh, and then sometimes that will help illuminate what the real issue is. Because at some point you get so riled up that it just seems like this is ridiculous.
But you're allowing the energy to
Yeah,
flow.
that's what. Yeah, yes. I guess that's the way to word it. Is when I say get riled up, it's allow it to flow. Really feel it. Feel the anger. Feel the hatred, the disgust, whatever it is that this charge is producing in you from this thing in the world. Really feel it. And if you can't feel it, purposely rile yourself up about it in order to really, really, really feel it and let it flow.
With an intent of
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
awareness.
not you're not doing this just to get angry and whatever. The
Yeah,
goal,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I should have started with that. The goal is to release it. The goal is to bring it up so that it can flow, so that whatever it is that's at the root cause of it inside of you from probably childhood trauma can surface and be released and hopefully even be identified and go, oh my gosh, this is because when I was in second grade, Billy, picked a fight with me, and now when I see someone fighting, I get all, you know, riled up about it.
The personal story.
No, I don't know Billy.
Mm. Didn't you have a story where you did not fight and you wish you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know that I wish I did anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Well, I think the wish you did probably went back to like standing up for yourself,
Yeah,
like defending yourself, right?
yeah,
Which is, your story with your mother.
yeah,
Goes back to the mother.
yeah. I don't know. I wish I did. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of it comes back to how we see ourselves in any one experience, right?
Yeah, if you see yourself as the victim or the guilty party,
Yeah. Or
yeah,
someone who took a higher road or whatever. You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's like, but you will see yourself through the pain body, right?
right,
So you will either regret it or not regret it based on what you think, what was that positioning was, right? If you are a victim and if you are in the victim mindset and you see yourself as not standing up to yourself, here's another example, once again, how it didn't stand up for yourself. Then you will see it that way, as opposed to if you see yourself as like, oh yeah, I'm just in peace. And here's another example of when I was just in peace and I didn't find it necessary to engage with an idiot who was just having a bad day. You will see yourself as that. Or if you did engage, right, you would go, oh yeah, I was on the edge and he was on the edge and both of us went at it. There's that. None of them are wrong. It's just what story does that paint, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all meditation is really, is that allowing you to see the truer story behind everything. Even if you're going into the space where that's not your intention, and your intention is just sit there calmly without a thought, just bathing yourself in theta, right? Like going out of your mind and just go into the astral field and just sit there zonked out, which I enjoy those sessions as well.
yeah,
Those are really nice. It's like I don't want to leave those
yeah,
sessions.
yeah.
Almost escapism style.
Right. That's my fear is that sometimes it might be, but that's why I purposely try to mix it up so that I'm not always doing that.
Yeah, and with me, whenever I reach it, it's just like I reach it, and my first thought is like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to be here forever." But because it feels like home, it's just peace.
Hmm.
But then I think it's good to go into that state because you realize, wait, if I'm in that peace right now in this moment, that means I'm not in that peace when I leave this chair.
And yeah, and why is that?
And so then there's this whole other contemplation that you're opening up whole other door to, like, wait, why am I not in this peace?
Right.
If I'm in this meditative state and it's bliss, why am I not in bliss in this moment?
Right. And when that happens, like for the the rest of that day, it is kind of like this reminder that like anytime that you're not feeling that like, A, this is available to everybody all the time.
Mhm.
And B, if you're not in it, then that's kind of like a person, you're making a choice not to be in it.
Mhm.
It's like, here I am doing, let's say you're, washing the dishes or something. Why are you not there? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, realistically, the only thing that will ever pull us out of there is an unprocessed energy, our trauma, our fears, really, right? And and I say that, and I know a lot of people will, bulge at it, but that's it, right? It's that simple. Except that nobody, including us at times, is willing to do the work to acknowledge it with awareness, admit it, and then be committed to doing something about it,
Yeah.
right?
No, I mean it's hard. It's still hard, but it was really hard before. It's easier now,
Especially listening to me about it.
especially listening to you
I
about
see
it.
it like I think out of all the sources, and maybe that was a challenge within itself. I kind of think that's interesting of how divine made that work. Is if somebody giving you some directions towards releasing your pain was
Right?
someone other than me, it probably would have been easier, but maybe not as effective.
Right.
Because with you, you had to overcome the fact that you even had to listen to me.
Right? Which is pretty messed up.
Uh, and so that within itself was its own hurdle. This is coming from someone who I don't trust or don't want to hear from or don't want to be right. And then therefore I will spend my entire life fighting about
Right.
anything that I say
No,
and the potentiality of
there
it.
was a huge ego thing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why ego?
I don't know why.
Okay, what about it? I guess is that
That like
does that
I
change
don't
it?
how does that change it? Like,
Anytime, right? I think I have this within me. Anytime somebody says something to you, depending on where you are in your mental space, you perceive my statements as accusatory attacks.
yes, there's that. I well, especially now, I know that everything you've ever said has been, you
I mean,
only
I have
want
sent some accusatory attacks before.
sure, but
When I was in the heated moment and I was yelling at you,
yeah,
yeah.
but we're not even talking about that. Just, you'll say things that are obviously meant to be helpful, but I will perceive them as an attack
Currently or in past?
in the
Or
past.
still to some
Um,
extent.
Even still, there's a gut reaction to what, and I'll immediately go no, and I used to immediately say no. Now I'll at least hold off on that for a second, but I'll think no, it's not right, and I'll very quickly go through this mental justification of it, and all this hoopla goes on in my mind within seconds. Um, but now I can at least catch that and go, wait a
Mhm.
minute. What if there's something there? Let's just entertain that idea for a second. And, it usually turns out that you're onto something there. But before I would, before it would, it would be an attack. You'd say, hey, you're whatever I'm doing or not doing. And I'd be like, you know, I'm angry because there's some truth in there, right? If you just said, hey, you're back on heroin, aren't you? It wouldn't affect me because there's no that doesn't even make sense, right? So it affects me because there's some it hits a nerve, right?
Yeah. It's a charge that you're trying to refuse to believe yourself or even acknowledge his existence. I
Yes.
mean, back to Drake and,
Yeah.
Lamar.
So there is a charge there that has been poked. That's what
Mhm.
it is, right?
Yeah.
There was some I don't remember who was there was some podcast I was listening to, and it's like, oh, if someone said, "Hey, you are you're a terrible politician. Is that you're like, oh, what? Okay, that doesn't make it. I don't. But then if they said, oh, you're a terrible whatever it is you do, or oh, you're ugly, or your eyes are too far apart, or whatever, something that you have to have some kernel of belief in that for that to affect you at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But we all have that.
But we all have that. We all have oodles of things that we believe about ourselves, good and bad. And if one of the good things is challenged or one of the bad things is brought up, then it's like, oh, it's an ego hit.
Mm-hmm.
And those are really hard to not fight back on.
Yeah.
The human instinct is to deny it. No, it's not. And usually fight back. Yeah, well, you're the one who's stinky or something. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, well, at least I didn't, or whatever.
Yeah.
We have something 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is like human nature, which is horrible because it just brings out the worst, and there's not much room for love in that type of a situation.
Yeah. So our daughter, who's 10 right now,
Yeah,
has this tendency that I totally had as a child. So anytime my parents would say anything to me, the initial response, like without even hearing or processing what is it they said, at some point, I think when I became like slightly more angry with life, is a no. Like I would just say no, and I remember the anger that I felt inside.
Yeah,
when I said that no,
but it's so fast. It's so immediate.
It's so immediate that you don't even process
you can say,
what
hey,
is it they said.
Hey, do you want a sandwich? No. Hey, do you want candy? No. I mean, yes. It's just no to everything.
It's a no.
So you can sneak in something that she definitely wants into that sentence. She says no, and then she'll correct herself, and it's like it makes it so obvious that it's just a reaction to having been asked a question in general.
No. I realize it is a reaction to feeling disempowered and out of control, right? And she's at the point in her life where she's fighting for independence and sovereignty and having her own say and having her own decisions. And so part of that rebellion process of finding self is to stand up to your parent, right? To reject your parent. And so in her rejection, it's just this like adamant, unfiltered no to everything, right? And it's because there's this greater turmoil within her that I remember having within myself of trying to gain independence or trying to gain, I guess, sovereignty or like perspective on self from my own standpoint and rejecting authority, especially parents' authority. But honestly, with me, it was especially mother's authority, right? Just because that, and now that I think about it, I'm like, I still had that tendency. Like it never kind of left with my parents. Because like that, there's this part of me that that is still like a child struggling to like be independent and then like have a voice and have a right to have a voice. It's almost that, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel that too. They're like movies and shows where someone is, held down, suppressed by maybe it's a family, maybe it's the government, maybe it's, society, whatever.
Are you talking about Tokyo Vice? Is that what you're talking about? Is what you're referring to right now or not?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay. When we had the last Lexia Divino, that's what came up to you was like control, right? Like being controlled or controlled, being controlled.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But our friend told us a story about when China went through their the communist revolution, and like everyone would, or people would rat out each other, and they'd get rounded up and stuff like that. And it's just like that. There's a charge around that. There's like this whole the system is fundamentally broken, and one might really want to help push it in the right direction, but at the same time, what can you do? And it's just going to get you killed, and that I have a huge charge around that.
Wait, didn't we watch a show where that was the case?
Probably.
Wait, or is it the show? I thought it was a show on that you watched about. Three Bodies. Wasn't Three Bodies? It referenced back in time where China was going through their communist revolution. Do you remember? And like there was the scientist dad, like her dad was being killed by the party, and he was murdered on stage.
Oh yeah.
And then like with her, there you go. It's a feeling of complete hopelessness, right?
Yeah.
And she felt hopeless to. It's interesting that it's going there. She felt hopeless to save the system. Like she felt like the earth was broken,
Yeah.
adamantly broken, and irreparable. And then she reaches out to an extraterrestrial race, like as a sneaky signal. Like she's not supposed to, but she like sneaks in a signal.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and she reaches out, and the voice goes back to her and saying, "You need to stop reaching out. I caught your signal. And if our species were to find out about your existence, they will come and annihilate you. So you need to stop reaching out." Right? Isn't that what the message was? And so she sees that message from the extraterrestrial races. And so this kind of interestingly goes back to the same topic that we were talking about with Elon and Joe when they were discussing that anti-humanism.
I never did look him up to see what his thing was.
Well, he keeps on bringing it up, so we're going to have to discuss that concept again. And then her belief in humanity is basically, I think, what this guy's is that it is broken beyond repair, right? Like we are broken beyond repair and left to our own vices, right? We would not be able, like it. We cannot fix it.
Yeah.
Right. Like almost in the last podcast we talked about the day the Earth stood still. Is that the one we made with Keanu Reeves?
Yep.
Yeah. Same topic, right? Like if a robot, if an extraterrestrial race came, and so in the movie's case, she's like continues to send the message because she believes that whatever they will do when they come, Earth will be better off, even being completely wiped out and restarted, than continuing on the path of right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I was in the shower when I was zonked out this morning. I saw our Dr. Bronner's bottle. Right. And
There's a lot of words on that.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Unfortunately, I can't see that up close anymore.
Yeah. And so the thing that stood out this morning is that there's a, so if like you're looking at the bottle and, here's the Bronner labels in the middle. So this is corner right side bottom, all caps. And maybe you can flash it here. I think it says, I could be wrong, but this is the gist of it. All one or none, and then either colon or semicolon or period, and then it says all one.
The words all one are on that a lot.
Yeah.
Many, many times.
Yeah. But, that goes back to, I don't know, I think this will be looped back into the meditation, but it goes back to a higher self is connected to the essence of us that is cosmic consciousness, which is oneness. And then therefore we are all one.
We just watched
Bruce Limpton.
Robert Evergrant's podcast with Alan Green, and I'm not
put it in the notes.
Yeah,
as a link.
I'm not super familiar with all of Shakespeare's works, and I don't even remember which one this is in.
The sonnets?
No, it's one of the plays where there's the drunk guy at the bar.
I thought it was is it Midnight's? Midnight Summer's Dream or not? Or is it?
Midsummer Night Dream. It might be.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. But there's this character. His name is something
Bulge.
something Belch,
Belch.
and he's the drunk guy. But at one point, he's walking out of the bar drunk, and he just says something to the effect of "We're all one." Right, and it's completely non sequitur. It's just non sequitur. It's just out of context. There's no context at all for this.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. That's the point of the jester or the fool, is that he's the only one who can speak the truth to the king.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think if we all spend more time allowing ourselves to be fools, and then allowing what we actually
Fools,
feel
children,
flow.
like more childlike.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
They were talking about it in the interview. Then they went to meet Dalai Lama. And then one of their friends, his name is Nassim, but he's like a super genius physicist who's discovering like most amazing things right now. And I guess however so at that time, this would have been 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember when this was. He discovered the exact size of the particle, right?
Of the proton.
Of the proton. And then he had and still has proof of it being the direct relation or correlation to the entire universe.
Yeah. Which I don't understand, but
but Dalai Lama felt interesting enough.
Well, not only that. Well, the Dalai Lama, I guess, had written a book saying, the universe isn't an atom, and and so it seems like, well, actually, it's in a proton. See, and he had the mathematical proof of it.
Yeah,
which was there because they're like, oh, we need to talk to the Dalai Lama, but between the three of us, that's our best in.
Yeah, I love how they had like a little sales pitch design in order to like, how can we spend more time with Dalai Lama?
And so the story is so great because they go up and they talk to him, and he says this, and then
the three of them go, and they're all on their own right amazing people,
right,
whose stories are extremely fascinating, and I would listen to. I mean, Nassim is like far out there to where my brain cannot comprehend quantum physics and whatever he's doing. And then Robert Edward Grant is doing things with music and geometry, and Alan Green is a Shakespeare guy. So three of them, right? Like amazing people,
right?
But they designed a sales pitch of how to get the Dalai Lama to become interested in them right off the bat, because they have like less than an hour, right?
Yeah, because you don't get a lot of time with His Holiness, and so they start off with that, and really really early on he goes and His Holiness goes and says,
no, it says the thing about the proton. That's the first thing that he says to Dalai Lama, and then the Holiness stops and whispers something to the monk behind him.
And then the monks scatter off.
They scatter off like in the most weirdest way.
And everyone's and the three amigos there are like, oh well, oh shoot,
what happened?
Have we started off with something else? What do we do? Later on, they end up asking one of the monks, what did he say? And it was like, oh, go prepare lunch. This conversation is going to go on for a long time.
But they said they sat there for the longest time worried. What is it that caused these monks to scatter like crazy from this one sentence, right? Because they did not know whatever.
Oh, that's great.
And so they said that they were with them for an hour before or 2 hours before. Then they had lunch, and then they were there for another 4 hours.
Right.
And after lunch, he invited them to their private quarters, and they were one of the. He has only done that three times, so they are the
Desmond
third.
Tutu and Michelle Obama, and then. The three amigos here.
Yeah, right. It's a great story. Yeah, so who's listening and is not following Robert Edward Grant or Alan Green, we should like Alan Green's thing is just so fascinating. We should do like an episode about that.
His story, his oh my gosh, yeah.
He's a character.
Yeah,
I love him. He's a little British, but other than that, British. Oh, is it the British that are like known for their rudeness? Because I thought they were not. Or is it the Canadians or the British, or like, like the abruptness, like culturally abruptness? Is that British?
I don't know. Well,
I think it's the British, because there was some sort of skit that made fun of like, oh no, was it the Americans who leaves very fast? Oh yeah, I think I think it was the Americans. So like British, I think, have hard time leaving. They're like super polite. Could be confusing cultures now, but they're super polite and will take them a long time to leave. Like one of them were like, "Oh, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." My mom always makes fun that Jews never leave, because anytime they're saying goodbye to us, it would be like 20 or 30 goodbyes. And like an hour later, they're still there talking, right? Versus like one of the cultures that like say like bye. Half the time they don't even say bye and they just leave. And this is a stereotype, a funny stereotype, but I'm failing to remember who.
I remember.
I think I want to say like the British and the Canadians are like too polite and almost like too polite.
My experience has been, in general, the British are very polite and the Canadians are very polite.
Yeah, but Americans are a little bit more abrupt.
Yeah. I mean, well, especially East Coast Americans.
Like New York?
New York, there's a
Well,
lot.
New York is New York. I mean, that's
Yeah,
its own breed of people there.
Right. But the whole, I think, super broad strokes, East Coast people are faster paced. West Coast people are take things chiller. And then in the middle, probably even more
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not from here, so who knows?
Right. Now I've lived my whole life here in Kentucky, which is weird because it's like, is it the South? Is it the Midwest? We're right on the edge of where the slavery line for the Civil War. It's
Or Kentucky with both, right?
it was
Pro and against.
it was kind of a
Middle
both.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
So
can't be
nobody
north.
really knows where, Midwest, where exactly Kentucky lies.
Yeah. It's like not, but yeah.
Yeah. And, we're not in, but right outside of Louisville, which is a proper city and all. But there's a lot of Kentucky that is not a city, right? You get out into the east and into the Appalachian Mountains, and it's very different than it is here.
Well, in Appalachian, isn't Appalachian one of the poorest areas in the United States?
I think so.
Like most poverty area in the United States.
I think so.
I mean, I know there's parts of like the Mississippi that are also, but like Appalachians is like literally known for their poverty.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, and it used to be a big, coal area. At least some of them.
Still?
And some of them might still be, but once the coal things dry up or they close them, then it's like the whole communities were 100% dependent upon a coal mine.
Yeah.
And if that goes away,
there's no jobs.
There's no jobs. There's just nothing there to keep it afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And so either you leave or the city just kind of rots.
Yeah, I think a lot of people leave.
Yeah.
And those who don't leave, I think there's a lot of drug problems.
Yeah, a lot of
methamphetamines.
I was gonna say what are the
fentanyl?
Pain pills?
Fentanyl.
No, like oxy.
I thought fentanyl is a pain pill.
Fentanyl is that stuff that it's super easy to overdose on. That they cut cocaine with.
I thought it's fentanyl is a pill. It's not a pill.
I don't know. No, I thought it was a powder. That's what I know. I'm talking about like in oxy and Percocet and stuff like that. Those type of things. Those pain pills.
Yeah.
I thought we saw some documentary about it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
I don't know how we got on any of that stuff.
Yeah, but right, awareness. Going back to lack of awareness.
So meditation.
Yeah. No, life can be as fucked up as you will let it be based on the choices that you will make into propagating a lack of awareness, right? And so the life will always loop you into a position where, look, here's another fucked up scenario in your life where you can look at why is this happening, right? I speak that for myself as well, right? Like if anything comes into my life, and usually it's a loop, right? Like it's not the first time it came. It was just another one of the scenarios.
That's true.
Right. So you will experience the same scenarios over and over and over. In any point, you can ask yourself, like, why? Like, what is it that keeps from bringing this in? Right? What is it that I'm unaware about that is still this? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, going back to meditation, that is the time to do that.
Yeah.
But in general, I think it kind of like slows down your system
In a good way.
in the good, yeah, like in the good way, to where as you go and you can kind of have it as a practice, you always have something to go back and ground you if shit comes up that you do need to deal with, right?
Mhm.
Whether it is just stamina to deal with the situation, even if you're lacking to bring awareness into it. But I think more so than not, it is a tool to help you bring awareness into any situation.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not direct. Like if I were to say that that is what the point of meditation is, you would go, "Well, how?" Because you sit somewhere for 30 minutes, or 5 minutes or whatever, and then it's supposed to do something to you outside of that 30 minutes?
But
That
it
doesn't make
yeah, but it
sense,
does.
but it does.
Right. And it's, it's not that the goal is to have less problems in life, although sure that would be nice. But things are always going to come up, right? You're always going to have something to deal with. It helps me deal with things. Helps me put life into perspective.
Yeah.
There it helps at the very least identify and best case, reduce or remove that charge that I was talking about behind things, right? You
Mhm.
know, there and what's funny is noticing when you would have previously had a charge. That's I find that endlessly entertaining. Just going, oh my gosh, that would have really bothered me in the past. And if it wasn't for the fact that I know it would have bothered me, it would have just passed me by.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm catching it is because I know that it would have bothered me, and it's that's endlessly entertaining to me.
Yeah. This is something that is becoming more and more obvious. The Bruce Limpton show that we watched, in one of the episodes, he talked about like releasing patterns, like subconscious patterns in life. And one of the tools that he offered was, because uh, like a background, majority of them are set. I mean, to his point, are like in utero at age 1 or 2, and then definitely all before 7. And there's no way we can even recall the in utero, right? Like,
Right.
unless, I mean, some people have memories of in utero, but most of us don't have vivid memories of what is it that we decided that is going to be our truth in
Yeah.
utero, right?
Yeah. I don't know that I can remember anything before 3. I don't remember I can remember much before 5 or 7.
Yeah. And so what his point is because they're set there, but we have no memory, there are no psychological way we can like go through.
Right.
I mean, unless you go through regression therapy,
Yeah.
if you just go to a psychiatrist, they will
It's
start talking about like immediate things.
it's in our subconscious. It's in
Yeah.
he calls it our programming,
Yeah, yeah.
which
But the amazing part about it, he says, well, guess what? You don't have to remember it. The pattern of it exists today.
yeah.
In right now, right? So those charges that you have are being triggered from the, let's say, utero ages, 0 to 1, 2 to 3, 3 to 4.
Yeah. One of his premises is that if you are present, then that allows your thinky brain to kind of guide you. You can be here. But
Mhm.
if you're busy thinking about other stuff, then
You're not bringing awareness to
you're
now.
A, you're not bringing awareness to now, but B, your subconscious programming ends up taking over.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you are not present, your default state ends up kind of taking over, and your default state may or may not be something that you like
Mm-hmm.
because it's whatever was absorbed in the first 7 or so years of your life,
Yeah, it's that trauma and pain that you haven't
right?
discharged or released. Yeah. And so what one of the suggestions that he had that I thought kind of relates to almost like a meditation. It's similar to like the mantra um is um picking out something that is affecting you right now. And then he said, go when you go to bed, um, play play it like in the headphones, um, to where as you fall asleep, you will naturally go into theta, right, and
Mhm.
then eventually delta, and because that is where the programming took place in theta and delta before you were 7. Play the message that you want to bring back in to undo the programming into the headphones, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, as a way to reprogram yourself.
right. Because the brain, the subconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious can, of course, be reprogrammed.
Yeah.
That's just a known thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one way to do it. Repetition is one way to do it. Because if you do it enough, it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. But if it's a belief
But if it's
as
a
opposed to
yeah,
as
beliefs
opposed
beliefs
to
are tricky. Beliefs are weird because that's not something that we have. It doesn't feel like we have a lot of control over our beliefs,
yeah.
right?
But yeah, and so after we watched that maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago, I remember. And I thought, okay, well, I don't have like a recording of what I want, right? Like I don't have a recording to make myself believe something that inherently I think like with me it's safety, right? And so I thought, what if I experiment and throughout the day, it, and even in meditative state, but throughout the day, if I attempt to be present and then always be relaxed, what if every so often I just like chant that for 2 or 3 times inside my head?
I am safe, something like that.
Um, well, um, with me, the safety comes. I realized maybe I should check what that is. With me, the safety. I'll check whatever that is.
I'll take over. the Yeah, I mean, what he said. One of the ways to do it is to like fake it until you make it. If you're not happy, just keep saying to yourself, "I'm happy. I'm happy," and it sounds stupid, but you can basically fool your subconscious, fool your nervous system into reprogramming it.
Yeah, no. With me, what I was saying is safety. The safe. So, what like for me, I can say I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Right. But there's almost not enough charge there to where I feel like that is the
Mhm.
connective tissue that would have released something, right? And so what I realized with me, a lot of the safety came from my subconscious thought that I was not wanted and not desired by my parents, right? My whole table leg situation, right? Had the story where I was adopted. I'm not, but that's a
Or
whole.
your parents told you that they were.
Yeah, parents told me that I was
Maybe
adopted.
the first time in recorded history where biological parents told their children that they were actually adopted when they weren't. Usually it's the other way around, if anything.
Right? Usually, like parents who adopt kids try to hide that from them all
Right.
their life, or willingly disclose it, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we love you no matter what, but you're adopted."
Yeah. Biological parents say incorrectly on purpose that you're adopted.
I don't.
Ah,
Right? Right. So,
at least we haven't done that to our kids yet. How old were you?
pre-7. Let's just say
Pre-7,
that
so it's
pre-7.
soaked in.
It's soaked in, right? And pre-7, just to point back out, you are basically primarily in the delta and the theta state.
Right.
Right. So that is where the programming happens. Is like you take everything that the world puts at you and you just take it on as your
You
truth.
absorb it.
Yeah, you marry it
And
and you observe it.
those are the initial channels that are basically cut into your brain if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
That is your initial programming.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's without intentionally trying to change that, that is how you will live for your entire life.
Yeah, and so with me, what I've been doing is because from the table leg orphanage story, I was told that I wasn't desired or wanted, and then they took pity on me. I thought it would be a good place to start, just to start to undo those two words, desired and wanted, right? As a because like if majority of my trauma lays in the tie to the table leg story, then I can start like seeing how that would feel, right? Like and obviously, right, if you don't feel desired, if you don't feel wanted, that fucks you up in all kinds of amazing ways, right? And it's so if at the core that is what you feel, you will you're basically, let's be honest, my entire life is built around the fact that I don't think that's the case, right? That I'm undesired and unwanted. And so through that weaving of the process, um right, it would be almost impossible for me to go backwards and go, what is all the ways that it's actually fucked me over and continues to, because it's so subconscious, right, and so ingrained. And so what I've been trying to do lately is just basically say that to myself anytime I am in kind of like a space where I'm wobbly, but then I can like take myself back into a relaxed state and then like start repeating that.
Mm.
Not when I'm being triggered with it, but just in general, like almost kind of like a mantra that I repeat 3 or 4 times a day.
Mm.
And then I realize as it starts to settle, like, cause I can feel it take hold, right? And so what was fascinating to me is I didn't have any goals for it. And I'm still not over it. But what I realized, the opposite of not desired and not wanted is not wanted and desired, right? It is actually nothing at all. It not being a thing.
Right. Yeah. It's not it not being a thing. Because in the desired versus not desired continuum,
Yeah.
you're stuck in that maze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the only way out of the maze is to rise above and not play that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So through awareness, right? Again, meditation is kind of this like loop back into awareness, to where if you start working on things, on the traumas, there are charges, known or unknown, or
Right.
or like if you dig into your origin story and there is something in there that is kind of like, in this case, it's a really simple tool. It's 2 words that I just repeat to myself, trying to ingrain them into me as my truth, saying, I am desired and I want it. I'm desired and I want it. Now, with me, the unfortunate situation is I have to do that in 2 languages, which which is its own, fucked up version.
Yeah, but without, I mean, that's interesting that you went there. It's not obvious that if your issue is not being desired and not being wanted, the obvious thing is, well, I need to be desired and I need to be wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going there still externalizes the solution. The solution still has, if you need to be desired, need to be wanted, that has to come from something or someone.
Mm-hmm.
Which, maybe you can get, maybe you can't, but that's still putting it out there.
Well, no, at this point, I'm aware enough to where I recognize that I actually don't think I'm undesired and unwanted, right?
Right.
At this point, the only thing that I'm acknowledging is that is subconscious programming that is still probably stuck with me somehow.
Right. Yeah. I think you're doing it at the right level. But like if someone, I know I had this, I'm not loved, and going to I am loved, which may be
you think
true.
that's what you want, right? When you say I'm not, when you feel like I'm not loved, you almost think that what you want is love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I don't have enough of something,
you're doing a better job at this than I am.
Yeah, when I don't have enough of something, you think the solution to that is to have more of that something.
Right.
Right? We always think to make us feel better or to undo the programming, both make us feel better from like unaware standpoint, but in my case, to undo the programming from unaware to a solution, we think the solution is the opposite of the not.
Yes.
Not wanted means, oh, I will be wanted.
Right.
That is what we think.
Right. But that, like with me, it became obvious that like that's not gonna. Well, yes, that feels better than the other. It's not. That's not where the root is, right?
What the end outcome is that it gets erased.
Yes, the solution is not less of this, more of this. It's this isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's not a thing. It becomes not a thing.
That it's removing the charge from it.
Yeah.
I got this charge that I'm not loved. Oh no. That's the problem. The problem isn't not being loved. And the solution isn't being loved. The solution is,
which is where the pain body is.
Which
the
is
pain
where
body
the
just
pain
has
body is.
this,
Yes.
just here. It
The
has
pain
this
body
on this-
is. Oh, you have this charge around that needs to be released.
Mhm.
And when it's released, it isn't a thing. It isn't right. It's
yeah,
like
it becomes not a thing.
is
like,
is there? I'm trying to think of something completely pointless. Is
No,
it rainy? Is it sunny? Whatever.
In my case, after doing this for, let's say only 2 or 3 days, right? I'm actually in the process because it's not gone, right? But as I'm continuing this mantra of saying I'm desired and I wanted, I'm actually starting to feel, and it's really strange, but I think this gives, if anyone's still listening, it gives humanity hope that it doesn't take much for you just to be in the calm state and just repeat this thing
Right.
that you don't even think might work. Like, I'm desired, I'm wanted. I'm desired, I'm wanted. And then very soon, it's like this, it's almost like this third option that came in that I was not looking for. I was not looking for anything. I just thought, like Bruce said, if you repeat something that undoes the programming, it will undo the programming. But he did not say, and that thing will not be it. And I did not even cognitively realize that would be the outcome, right? The only thing that I recognized was, oh, I'll just do it and see what it does, right? Like you and I both, when we were sitting in the hearth room, like listening to that, we were like, oh, we should try that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not going to sit and record myself. Like, how else would I do it? I'm recording myself apparently on my phone, on my 1980s phone.
Hey, bring. Gotta do one of the.
No, I'm not sure why I'm recording myself on a 1980s phone. I'm not,
Rotary dial.
No, I had a rotary dial when I was growing up. So, party line too, right? That's another thing. You didn't have a party line.
I didn't have a party line.
Yeah,
no.
I had a party line.
Back in the day, phone numbers were like there were 2 letters and then a couple numbers.
Oh, letters.
Yeah. Well,
Letter on the.
no. Well, you would.
Is letter not a number?
Operator, get me. And they were. I think the letters corresponded to numbers, but they were words. I'm sorry, they weren't letters. They were words that
Or like last name of a person?
No, it was like we're like 5 rabbit holes off of where we started. It was like Charlie. See, that's a word. That's a name. It's like
Cat.
Cat dog 2859.
That
operator.
Was the code.
And
for
so
a phone number?
basically that would be a C and a D, which may turn into like a 2 and a 3 or something, and the operator would know what to do and connect you with that. So it was word, and then 4 numbers.
So like letter basically, but you said the word.
You said the word.
The operator
yeah.
wouldn't be confused.
Yeah,
But any word started with a C or any word started with a D.
There were specific words.
Oh, there were specific words.
Yeah.
Oh, so certain operators would just memorize.
But I think I think it was everybody said Charlie or whatever, but that was just the convention.
Okay, just like the what is it?
NATO phonetic alphabet. Yeah.
Just that.
It wasn't those letters though.
Oh.
And this was in I guess the 50s.
Oh,
That's my dad grew up that his phone number was, Charlie plate 2948 or whatever. I don't know.
so wait, you would pick up the phone,
And you would
and that is what you would say because that is who you're trying to call. So you
yeah.
have to say their phone
You
number.
wouldn't you weren't dialing.
Yeah,
You would
you would just speak to an
you
operator.
speak to the operator. Operator would patch you in, probably with little
Yeah,
cables.
so you would never say unless you're calling home from elsewhere. You would say their phone number.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. No. I guess when I grew up in Ukraine in the 80s, we had
Rotary dial.
a rotary, and it was for six digits.
It's always
Two and two.
It's always been sevens for me. But wait, no, we skipped rotary. We had Touchstone, and I think it was $1 a month more for Touchstone.
Like the
Like
digital phone.
yeah, do. Yeah, Touchstone.
Yeah.
But
When we moved to the United States, we got
But we were on the verge of because some of my friends didn't have Touchstone,
yeah.
and we were the fancy rich people that had Touchstone or something. And I'm like,
In the 80s.
yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah. When I guess
But you could still dial rotary, and you may, if you have a landline, still be able to dial rotary now just by pushing the plunger real fast. The rotary, all that does is disconnect it over and over. So if you have the
but
the
you're
hang
not
up
really
plunger,
good at.
I've dialed phone numbers like that before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
There's
I'll
some
have the
leeway in it.
coordination to do it.
I assume that still works. There was something like 2 or 3 topics ago that I was going to say, but it's gone now. Oh, I was going to say, you should try that. You should repeat that yourself when you're falling asleep.
Yeah, I know. I do that when I'm falling asleep. I do when I wake. I try to remember when I wake up, and then just throughout the day, like
Mhm.
just to insert that in. But what happened is it's almost like this line that came in, and it made it obvious to it being erased, it not being a thing, which is not revolutionary or new to me, but it became obvious about this particular set. Like not loved and not want, or not loved. No, wait, not wanted and not
Desired.
right? And so yeah, so it's working. And if anyone's has a really interesting, wants to experiment, but you almost have to kind of like identify what that core is.
You could record one and just put it out there.
Record what? Like my particular flavor of fucked up?
Yeah. I don't know. We could record a whole bunch.
Oh, so people could play at night when they go to bed?
You are wanted. You are desired. And gosh darn it, people like you.
No, for all I know, Bruce has some, right? I don't know.
I would bet money you could go find someone on YouTube who has 8 hours of that looped.
Yeah. Wait, would that be just a voice? You wouldn't have music in the background. It would just be.
I don't know. Might have some sort of light, sleepy music.
But yeah, I don't know if music would distract from it or not.
Someone sneaks in the middle. You will kill people. You will.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have any ill intent there. Yeah, I don't know. It's basically kind of like a subliminal programming of your subconscious. I might try it. Yeah, I mean, why not? How about this? When Bruce said it, I thought, wait, I wish somebody had it. I wish somebody had a loop of like a word or 2 words or phrase or like at least a combination of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then and so the only thing that people would do is they would just
fall asleep with
it
or meditate with it.
Yeah, I'll have to try. I personally enjoy my voice. Like whenever I record my meditations, I actually enjoy my voice, which is kind of strange. And so whenever I edit my meditations, I'm like, wait, I'm out. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be editing, which is funny. But yeah, if anyone's looking for awesome meditations, they're on this channel somewhere.
Stay tuned for those.
No, I just meant in general.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because I have several meditations that I already did that is designed to unwind the subconscious programming, right? Like especially on the let go instance where you just what you did, right? Like sit there and feel.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have 2 of those that I keep on bringing up that just are designed for that. They're just allowing you to feel their overwhelm because at some point, whenever you start to feel the overwhelm, right, like from the David Hawkins Let Go standpoint, it just flows out. Um, yeah, and then with this whole like unwanted, undesired, repeating it on myself, I'm just using a different approach just to see if like I can rewire that subconscious programming. Yeah, finishing up.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.